I'd like to call this meeting to order. Will the secretary please call the roll?
Mr. Carangelo,
Here.
Mrs. Chu,
Here.
Mr. Sismar,
Here.
Fox,
Here.
Khan,
Here.
Mrs. Lax,
Here.
Mrs. Reese,
Here.
Mr. Winston,
Here.
and President Becker.
Here, we have a quorum. Please rise to salute the flag.
I pledge
Pledge
allegiance
allegiance
to
to
the
the flag
of the
of the States of America,
To the
and
republic,
to the republic for which it stands,
one
one
nation,
nation,
under
under
God,
God,
indivisible,
indivisible,
liberty,
liberty, and justice
for all.
for all. Due to the COVID-19 health emergency and in order for the Board of Education to conduct its business, this board meeting is being held via video conference and streamed live on YouTube on the district website. In addition, members of the public may provide comment at this meeting through Zoom by entering the URL, meeting ID, and password you see before you on the screen. Upon joining the meeting, your participation will be muted to ensure there is no disruption to the business being conducted by the Board of Education. The New Jersey Open Public Meeting Law was enacted to ensure the right of the public to have advance notice of and to attend meetings of public bodies. In accordance with the provisions of this act, the East Brunswick Board of Education has caused notice of this meeting to be published at the Board of Education offices. Written notice was also provided to the Sentinel, the Newark Star Ledger, the Home News Tribune, and the Municipal Clerk of East Brunswick. All Board of Education meetings, with the exception of executive session discussions, are videotaped for later broadcasts. Individuals who speak at the board's public meeting should be aware of these videotaping rules. Good evening, everyone. We're going to start off tonight, as we always do, with our superintendent's report. Dr. Valesky?
Thank you, President Becker. Good evening, everyone. Tonight, I want to start by addressing the community directly. Even before last March 18th, when we initially left our schools because of the ensuing pandemic, the EBPS organization had been committed to transparency, so each of you has as much information as we can possibly give you. I'm not exaggerating when I tell you that planning over this past year has been one half day at a time because information changes so quickly. I have heard from some of you about your concerns with my decision and recommendation to postpone our restart of hybrid instruction until February 4th. When we are faced with a decision of this magnitude, we begin by assembling a variety of stakeholders in the district as we try to vet every possible option and forecasted outcome. Every option is considered and weighed against the most recent COVID transmission data we have, as well as the health situations we are encountering in our own school district. And I know we often get compared to other surrounding districts, but comparison is often difficult because each district has unique circumstances and challenges. One solution does not work for every school district, just as I know every one of my decisions does not work for everyone in our school community. But I remain committed to make the best decisions for the entire school community. I try to communicate changes as soon as I accurately can, but I know sometimes from your perspective, it doesn't feel that way. And I don't discount that some of you are frustrated and even angry. I want to reassure you that we continue to plan a return to hybrid instruction that is as safe as it can be for every student, every staff member, and all the families in East Brunswick. For our return to face-to-face instruction to work, whatever the date, I'm asking every family to be transparent with us as well. If we all follow published health guidelines, report close contacts and illnesses, and most importantly, stay out of school if anyone in the family is presumed or diagnosed as a positive COVID, then our shared commitment to safety is elevated. Keeping ourselves and everyone around us safe is the only way we can successfully pull off the monumental task of returning our schools to full operation. So another reminder, the learning model form for Churchill Junior High School and East Brunswick High School is currently available through Parent Access. The forum will close at 3 p.m. tomorrow. That's Friday, January 22nd. If you do not submit the form, your child will continue with remote learning instruction. I'm going to say that one more time. If you do not submit the form, and you don't need to, if you want to remain in remote, your child will continue in the remote learning instruction. The Hammersholt Middle School, Churchill Junior High School, and East Brunswick High School music departments released a virtual winter concert series in December and January. All performances were created by the staff and students of the various ensembles. Even though students were not able to perform together this year in the manner of a traditional concert, they still were able to create beautiful music as heard in these truly emotional video productions. All concert performances can be found at ebnet.org/artseducation. And tonight we would like to highlight a clip of the East Brunswick High School Honors Concert Choir performing an arrangement of a gospel song entitled A City Called Heaven. And this selection is a traditional sorrow song, one that would be sung to cultivate a sense of hope through music. And that's something we all need right now. This performance features solos by seniors Julian Aday and Zoe Asuncion. I know you will enjoy it. And it's coming.
It is.
God no hope, God no hope for tomorrow. I'm trying to make heaven my home.
Sometimes I just don't know which way to turn. Of a city called heaven, and I'm trying to make heaven my home. Sometimes I just don't know which way to turn. Of a city called heaven, and I'm trying to make heaven my home.
Oh, that was wonderful.
You know, I'm constantly impressed by the talent that we have in East Brunswick, and even during a pandemic and being physically separated from one another, our students still manage to impress and inspire. So I'm so proud of them. I know their families are too, as well as all the administrators, Michelle DeGrossa, Dr. Boley, everybody that's involved in the program that has cultivated these young people and their talent. So thank you much to all those administrators. President Becker, if I could, I would like to also offer a resolution of appreciation for School Board Recognition Month.
Absolutely. Thank you very much.
So Resolution of Appreciation, School Board Recognition Month, January 2021. My, where has the year gone? Whereas the New Jersey School Boards Association has declared January 2021 to be School Boards Recognition Month, a time that all residents might acknowledge the contributions made by our local school board members. And whereas the East Brunswick Board of Education is one of more than 581 local school boards in New Jersey that sets policies and oversees operations for public school districts. And whereas the East Brunswick Board of Education embraces for all students the goals reflected in the district motto of excellence in academics, athletics, and the arts. And whereas the East Brunswick Board of Education helps determine community goals for the education of approximately 8,200 children in preschool through 12th grade. And whereas the East Brunswick Board of Education members receive no compensation for their services, yet are committed and active advocates for public school students, and as board members collectively work with administrators, teachers, and parents for the good of East Brunswick public schools and public education in general. And whereas the East Brunswick Board of Education provides accountability to the public, communicates the needs of the school district to the public, and conveys to school administrators the public's expectations for the schools. And whereas the East Brunswick Board of Education can take pride in its schools, which rank among the best in New Jersey and nationally in indicators such as high school graduation rates, class size, college entrance exam participation, and advanced placement offerings and test scores. Now, therefore, it be resolved that we join community statewide in observing January 2021 as School Board Recognition Month and express our gratitude and appreciation to Vicki Becker, Lori Lax, Mark Carangelo, Susanna Chu, Mark Sismar, Heather Guas, Lee Woo Hung, Barbara Reese, and Jeffrey Winston collectively, the East Brunswick Board of Education, for their unwavering service to the student, staff, and of course, the greater East Brunswick community. Thank you to all of you for all that you do.
Thank you, Dr. Valesky.
And certificates are going to be coming to you via US mail after all the Christmas packages are delivered.
For 2020 or 2021?
Hard to tell.
Yeah.
We might be better just to deliver them to your houses.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Now we come to the good of the cause for the public. Members of the public may provide comment at this meeting through Zoom by entering the URL, meeting ID, and password provided into the web browser of your computer or mobile device. In order to be recognized, use the chat feature. Select the Zoom meeting host, then enter and send your name to the host. You will be recognized to speak when your name is called, and individuals will be invited to speak in the order in which we have received your request. The Board of Education recognizes the value of public comment on educational issues and the importance of allowing members of the public to express themselves on school matters of community interest. To protect the privacy of all students and staff, concerns regarding individual students and staff members should generally be addressed by first meeting with the appropriate administrative staff. All participants will be limited to 3 minutes speaking duration. And I'd like to add, to remind the public, that this is the time for the public to come and address the board. We do not feel this is a time for the board to enter into a dialogue with the public. They should be allowed to come and speak to us freely. Specific questions can be addressed by the relevant administrators, but please don't mistake our silence for anything but giving you the respect that we feel you deserve by coming to speak before us. This is your time. With that being said, Bernie, is there anyone wishing to address the board?
We do not have anyone currently in the queue. And I'm continuing to monitor, and
No one.
There is no one.
Seeing no one, I close the public portion.
Someone just spoke up. Just as you were saying those words.
Okay. I enjoy having our community participate. We will allow that person to speak, even though I said it.
Okay, Melissa Lannon,
Hello, are you able to hear me?
yes.
Thank you so much for your time. I appreciate being able to speak in this forum and to the board. My child goes to Frost Elementary School. I will have a second child in elementary school there next year as well. And I'm trying to be mindful through all of the decisions that the administration has made that we all have the same goal, which is clearly to keep our children safe and to provide a quality education. I also understand that the administration has been trying to manage this school district through a global crisis, and am mindful of how challenging many of your decisions have been. That being said, this school system still needs to function with a vision of success. And my child is in first grade. I am watching these children sitting in front of computers all day, unengaged, unable to focus, and I'm seeing the effect that it has on the quality of education. And I'm seeing, in my opinion, a school system that's just floundering. And I'm concerned as a parent. Now, as we all know, in November, Dr. Valesky, you drove through town, you saw long lines at the walk-in clinics, and you decided to close the doors out of fear. Now, I was at the same clinic days later, and I actually spoke with the people that were there. And what I found interesting is I was the only one there that was from East Brunswick. I spoke to teachers from Mattawan that were required to go there to get COVID testing. I met couples from Old Bridge. And what I found out is the reason that there was such a large population at those clinics is it were the only ones in the surrounding area that were open that were providing COVID tests. Yet, Dr. Valesky, you saw something that scared you. In my opinion, you failed to do your due diligence and you reacted. And the people that I see are suffering the most
30 seconds,
are our children. I thought I have 5 minutes to speak.
3 minutes, ma'am.
Okay. So my question is, why are we not capable of opening our doors? The private schools, the Catholic schools, the daycares, and public schools in the surrounding area are open full time. Point Pleasant is open 5 days a week. Shrewsbury is open 4 days a week. Jackson, which is a comparable school size,
Time, ma'am.
has been hybrid.
Time's up.
Okay,
We have no one else in the queue.
thank you very much for coming and speaking to the board. Moving on to our agenda items. Under the Board of Education, can I please have a motion to combine items 1 through 7?
So moved, Lori.
Moved by Lori,
Second, Li Wu.
second by Liwu. Is there any discussion? Will the secretary please call the roll?
Mr. Carangelo,
Mark, you're on mute. Mark Carangelo?
My apologies. Yes.
Mrs. Chu,
Yes.
Mr. Sismar,
Yes.
Mrs. Guas,
Yes.
Mr. Hong,
Yes.
Mrs. Lax,
Yes.
Mrs. Reese,
Yes.
Mr. Winston,
For our community programs item, there is one item on the agenda. May I please have a motion for that?
So
So
moved.
moved.
Moved by Lori, second by Liwu. Is there any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstain? Motion carries. Under curriculum and instruction, there are 5 items. I'd like a motion to combine items 1 through 5.
So moved.
Moved by Liwu, second by Jeff. Is there any discussion? This is a roll call vote. Will the secretary please call the roll?
Mr. Colangelo,
Yes.
Mrs. Chu,
Yes.
Mr. Sismar,
Yes.
Mrs. Guas,
Yes.
Mr. Hong,
Yes.
Blacks,
Yes.
Mrs. Reese,
Yes.
Mr. Winston. Mr. Winston,
Yes. Yes.
President Becker.
Yes, motion carries. On our facilities agenda tonight, there is one item. Can I please have a motion for it?
So moved.
Moved by Mark, second by Lori.
Which Mark?
Mark Colangelo, sorry, Mark 2. Is there any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstain? Motion carries. On our financial services agenda, I'd like a motion to combine items 1 through 3.
So moved.
Moved by Lori,
Second.
second by Susanna. Is there any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstain? Motion carries. On our human resources agenda, there is one item. Can I please have a motion for that?
So
So
moved.
moved.
Liwu.
Moved by Liwu,
Second.
second by Lori. Is there any discussion? Will the secretary please call the roll?
Mr. Colangelo,
Yes.
Mrs. Chu,
Yes.
Mr. Sismar,
Yes.
Mrs. Guas,
Yes.
Mr. Hong,
Yes.
Mrs. Lax,
Yes.
Mrs. Reese,
Yes.
Mr. Winston,
Yes.
President Becker.
Yes, motion carries. For our student services agenda, I'd like to combine items 1 through 5. Can I please have a motion for that?
So
So
moved.
moved.
Moved by Liwu, second by Lori. Is there any discussion? Will the secretary please call the roll?
Mr. Colangelo,
Yes.
Mrs. Chu,
Yes.
Mr. Sismar,
Yes.
Mrs. Guas,
Yes.
Mr. Hong,
Yes.
Mrs. Lax,
Yes.
Mrs. Reese,
Yes.
Mr. Winston,
Yes.
President Becker.
Yes,
Yes, I got that. Thank you.
You're welcome.
yes, and motion carries. And now, I believe our student rep, Tony, is with us tonight. Always a pleasure to see you. How are you? How are things?
I'm doing well, President Becker. I hope all are doing well with all of you as well. The only thing I wanted to talk about tonight was the choice of virtual versus hybrid from the perspective of a student. And the main question that is being addressed is if the benefit of going in person and going hybrid outweighs the risk. Now, obviously, the first thing to consider is that everyone's individual situation is different. Some people have grandparents living at home where the risk is a lot higher. But also, do students want to go to school if each classroom is only 2 to 4 other students and the teacher has to teach through her laptop because the vast majority of students are still virtual? And it's sometimes perceived as sitting and staring at your screen at your desk at home to going and sitting and staring at your screen at your desk in a classroom. Now, obviously, this is one side of this situation, and some students cherish the opportunity to go outside consistently and go to a learning environment, and of course, provide some much appreciated company to the teachers who have to go every day. But some students don't want to wake up earlier 2 out of every 4 days. And, it depends what, like each side has a different weight. And I think one of the more important things is that, or at least I personally believe that we will see, or we're more likely to see an eventual mass switch to hybrid as opposed to a gradual trickling in of students switching to in-person. And I think it's because the decision is largely based on what your peers are doing, right? You don't want to go to school if some of the kids that you know that are in your class aren't going. If you're not doing what all your friends are doing, why would you take that risk and go for it? So of course, everyone's situation is different, but since it's so strongly based on what your peers are doing, I think that eventually we'll see a mass switch as opposed to everyone trickling in. And Dr. Vlesky touched on this, but the winter concerts put forth by the choir and the orchestra and the band, it's amazing to see how talented the students are and how smoothly they're able to adapt despite the situations. One of the biggest things over the summer was everyone was like, how am I going to play my instrument if I can't even, sit in the band, and, we can't even fit more than 10 people in the room. And it's great to see that it's so well done now, and the production of the video is great. And yeah, those were the only two things that I wanted to bring up tonight. So thank you.
Thank you. Again, as always, we appreciate you taking the time to come and let us know what's going on with the students at the high school. This brings us to committee reports, information items, and for the good of the cause of the board. I just wanted to simply start out by also echoing what Tony just said. The performance by our students shown in the video early tonight was amazing. Your passion for the arts, your commitment to what you decided to get involved in is inspiring. The production was terrific, but just seeing your faces and the smiles and the passion with which you were singing, thank you for sharing that with us. Greatly appreciate it. And now, any member, board, committee report, information item for the good of the cause. Jeff?
Thank you, President Becker. Speaking on behalf of the Finance Committee meeting, which was held on January 19th, that was our first meeting of this year. My first meeting as a chair of this committee, and I am encouraged by the folks that are involved and some of the comments that were made. Just a fast overview, we've beginning to lay out some of the financial opportunities that are being faced with now within the district, and many of which are very good. Others are going to need to be worked through. And I appreciate the work that Mr. Julian has done in presenting some of the data crystal clear. Makes it very easy to really assess what's going on. From a topical standpoint, we did discuss some of the enrollment in state aid, enterprise revenue, which of course has changed drastically as a result of the COVID-19 virus, along with the educator's health plan, classroom availability. And if it was one takeaway from this, is that I'm encouraged that we have our eye on the future, onto brighter times, and we as a district are absolutely going to be prepared to springboard out of this virus to a strong, I expect, a very vital district. So I appreciate everything. Thank you. That's my time.
Thank you, Jeff. Good report. Any other members, Lee Wu?
Yes.
Then Susanna.
Last Thursday, January 14th, I attended EBEF monthly meeting. As everyone knows that the pandemic is caused and is still causing huge trouble for everyone and every organization. So EBEF, so the primary fundraising event such as the pie dinner and the celebrity dancing off activity may not be held on time. So, still Jack and his entire EBEF team are working very hard to provide our school district with all kind of funding and supporting. So if anyone in East Brunswick community, if you know any foundation, private or public foundation is willing to help, please contact Jeff, contact that organization. Please bring any financial resource to the EBEF, which eventually will benefit our school district and benefit our children. So please do whatever you can to help EBEF, help our children.
Thank you, Lee Wu. Very important to note. Thank you for bringing that up. Any other board members wishing to speak? Susanna?
Just wanted to report that the East Brunswick Human Relations Council will be holding a Facebook event on February 9th on Tuesday at 7:30 p.m. celebrating Black History Month. And I'm really excited about that program. I'm participating on that planning committee. A lot of just really wonderful businesses and artists and dancers will be featured. So if you can sign on at that time, it will be live with pre-recorded sessions. And we also have contributions from our own very own students from East Brunswick schools. So very much looking forward to seeing that. But it'll also be recorded. So if you miss it, you can always go on Facebook, follow East Brunswick Human Relations Council, and you can access the recording after the fact. Thank you.
Thank you, Susanna, for bringing that to us, for bringing that to our attention. Any other board members? Barbara?
Hi, I just wanted to mention, we had a parent, and I appreciate parents coming to speak to the board. And I definitely, it's to advocate for your child. I have kids, in the district, and my sister has kids in the district. But I just want you to know that I've never known Dr. Valesky to act out of fear. That's not his way. In fact, he's very data driven. And I have not always agreed on everything related to COVID all the time exactly. We all have different views, but I have to say he's been very thorough, data driven. The entire administration and the characterization of us floundering. Our teachers are excellent, our administrators are excellent. So I want you to know we hear you, but just remember that these are people who are working very hard in very tough circumstances. I just lost my father to COVID, and it's not easy. And I'd rather be cautious and save lives. So thank you.
Barbara, that was beautifully, beautifully put. I think you spoke for all of us. Thank you so much. Anyone else wishing to bring up anything at the good of the cause? Seeing none, we do have a need for a closed session. The Board of Education must discuss matters which are not appropriate for discussion in a public meeting. Those matters we intend to discuss are those items listed in tonight's agenda. The length of the closed session is estimated to be 1 hour, after which the public meeting of the board shall reconvene and action will not be taken. May I please have a motion to go into closed session?
So moved.
So moved.
Moved by Lori, second by Jeff. Is there any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstain? Motion carries. Thank you for joining us tonight. Stay safe. Board members, please leave the meeting and log into closed session.
Aye.